Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, on the planet, in the stratosphere. Welcome to today's sharing of Harmonize to Energize. My name is Terry Matthews, and it's been my pleasure and privilege to share aspects of the art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU and some other arts of overlapping connections for the past 5 years. And today is no exception, and it's a special presentation day because I am joined with, to my right or left, Lisa Gritton, who is a long-time JIN SHIN JYUTSU practitioner and the organizer for San Diego. Quick wave from Lisa. Jasper, who's glued to her hip, is not here, but he's her sidekick, the cat. So anyway, welcome everybody. And if there's anyone brand new today, I'll just do a quick overview of the art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU. The art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU is an art of energy balancing life energy, sometimes called prana or chi, dependent on which culture you've grown up in and been educated in, as it moves through our bodies. And similar to acupuncture and acupressure, it moves through the body in pathways. And these pathways can be adjusted by what we in JIN SHIN JYUTSU call safety energy locks, which are the width or diameter of the palm of your hand, not mine. And we place our hands on these safety energy locks. There's 26 of them left and right of the spine, 3 in the arms, to adjust the frequency and vibration of these energies as they move or not, because we work towards harmonizing the energy in the body, and through the imbalances created by lifestyle, our thoughts, words, and deeds, these energies don't always flow congruently. They get out of harmony, they get more left-sided or right-sided, and as a result, we may feel out of whack or out of harmony or out of balance, whichever vocabulary you choose to use. JIN SHIN JYUTSU was brought to the West by Mary Eno Burmeister, who I had the pleasure of meeting many moons ago, after she studied with her master, Master Jerome Arai, in Japan during the Second World War. I'm told, I used to think it wasn't until the 70s, but I'm told that Mary began teaching actually in the late 50s, and then later on began publishing material which became Text 1 and Text 2 for practitioners to learn the art, and then later self-help books 1, 2, and 3. And while we're here, we might as well do a quick promo. The self-help books 1, 2, and 3 look something like, well, actually it's not. Self-help 3. Yeah, anyway, there's 3 of them. Actually, there's 4. There's one for little kiddies too, but I don't happen to have it with me now. And textbook 1 and 2, which is for the practitioners. And I believe, and I could be wrong, so check me, anyone, that you can now get textbook 1 and 2 on the websites for JIN SHIN JYUTSU Spirit, Mind, Body, or JSJ Inc. As well, even if you haven't studied the classes. And then there's books like this, The Touch of Healing, which we'll refer to today, which is a concise overview of both practitioner and self-help material. And why not mention, while we're here, Walter Rigger, Health is in Your Hands, her little book. So they're all available for new and more experienced practitioners to review or to study for the first time the art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU. So without further ado, if you didn't understand any of that, there is a replay. You can go through, slow me right now and listen again. So today we continue with the JIN SHIN JYUTSU Lifestyle series. And today we're going to be examining what was actually number 8 on the list. Mary's quotation from textbook 2, paragraph 2, page 2, about what conditions and situations can disharmonize us. And let us bring up the slide. Do you want the slide, Lisa, or do you just want to read it?
How about both?
Okay. So here it
Good
is.
morning. And thank you, by the way, Terry, for inviting me today.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So here it is on page 2 of text 2. Mary Burmeister wrote, blah, blah, blah. And today we're going to be talking about the disharmony caused by injection of poisonous matter into the body. But Lisa will read through this for everybody. Off you go. Here we go.
So here is the page 2, paragraph 2, as she writes it. When the 12 individualized body functions or organ function energies, when the 12 when the 12 individualized body function energy is in balance with the universal harmony energy, that is the energetic, unmanifested energy, there is perfect harmony within and without the body. However, this perfect harmony may be interrupted by daily eating habits, working habits, hereditary characteristics, too dry or too damp living environment, weather conditions, mental and emotional anxieties, accidents causing bodily injuries, or by injection of poisonous matter into the body. And that last one is what we're going to be talking about today. Injection of poisonous matter into the body.
Okay, so one or more of the 12 individualized body function energy may increase or decrease, stagnate, deviate, reverse, or weave in and out and result in disharmony. Careful attention is then made to find the cause of the result. All right. Where are you, Lisa? There you go. I don't know what
Okay.
happened there. That was weird.
So Terry and I have been discussing what injection of poisonous matter into the body means as opposed to ingestion of poisonous matter. But there are many ways, several ways that that poison can be injected into the body. Through natural means or through artificial means, human injection. So I'm going to talk about the natural ways, um, such, such as insects like mosquitoes, wasps, bees, spiders, etc., getting bit or stung, scorpion stings or bites. I think they're stings, right? Um, Terry was noting that a scorpion has 2 body segments as opposed to an insect, which has 3. And then there are snakes, snake bites, and then sea creatures such as jellyfish, sea urchins, and stingrays. And then there's bites. So when there's a bite that introduces bacteria or can easily introduce bacteria or viruses into the body. Dog bites can introduce bacteria like staph, strep, pasteurella, which can cause infection. Cats, same thing, and it can be very serious. It can lead to quick cellulitis, sepsis, and death. Rats, rat bites can be dangerous and transmit diseases that can be fatal if left untreated. And cause fevers. Bats, and very serious. Again, it's important to know that you need to get medical help. They can carry rabies infection, and if you are bitten or scratched by a bat or other wildlife, you need to immediately wash the wound thoroughly and seek medical attention. Monkeys can bite, and they can carry tetanus, bacterial infections, rabies, herpes B viruses. Um, and then we were talking about even being bit by a human, which I think can be very dangerous as well. So apparently humans carry a lot of bacteria in their mouths that can be harmful or fatal. So anyway, we are talking about Jin Shin Jyutsu to help some of these exposures, and we want to stress that this in no way is a substitute for medical attention. A lot of these are emergencies that you need to seek medical help with. And on the way to that, to getting medical help, you can use some of these self-help holds, or if there is a situation where it's not so urgent or serious, you can help yourself with Jin Shin Jyutsu.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so the body is being poisoned, and the body is infinitely intelligent at cleaning and healing itself. But Jin Shin Jyutsu is a beautiful way to help that along, help that process more quickly than it would happen naturally. And I think most of us who have been practicing for a while have seen profound help being profound. We all have stories that we've seen sort of almost, profound and miraculous help that Jin Shin Jyutsu can do just simply by holding our hands on different parts of our body. So Terry is going to talk about other kinds of injections of poisonous material into the body.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. And again, I will double emphasize that Jin Shin Jyutsu is not a replacement for medical care and attention. And obviously in situations, I'm thinking here probably of snake bites and things like that, scorpion bites and what have you. Yes, you may be able to help the person by holding some energy locks, holding your finger, but you're more likely to be on the phone to hospital or taking them to ER. So remember, we are not a substitute, we are a complement. And, often that's overlooked. Some people think, well, I can deal with this with my hands and fingers. Grade it according to the seriousness of the situation. Common sense, in other words. We're not a cure-all, we're a complement. So thank you, Lisa. And talking about human injections, I'm going to just say that in most cases, we can be talking about non-prescribed injections such as heroin and cocaine, which they can use IVs for or needles. And straight away with needles, if they're not clean, they can inject poison, into the body. And when you're talking about those kinds of situations, again, you're probably going to need help from ER. But, Jin Shin Jyutsu, if you're there in the moment, particularly something like heroin, it's going to be the main organs of the body that are going to be affected, the liver, the kidney, and the spleen. And if you know the fingers, you can go in there perhaps and hold some of those fingers. But again, depending on the reaction that the person's actually having at the time. And then, of course, there are the prescribed inoculations where, we have vaccines or anesthesia before an operation or at the dentist. And some people may have allergic reactions to that. Obviously, in the case of a dentist, if you don't know what's going to go on, they're going to have to deal with your allergic reaction straight away. But if you've had a vaccination and then you have some kind of allergic reaction afterwards, maybe anaphylactic with your breath, or maybe a rash, we have flows, and many of them, or holds, are very similar. Because what is beautiful about Jin Shin Jyutsu is there's a great simplicity about it. We talked about, I believe I said 26 safety energy locks. And amidst those safety energy locks are flows that can cover pretty much all of the effects that can happen, when you have a reaction to some kind of injection, whether it be natural or prescribed. You might have the shock we mentioned, the swellings, rashes, cramps, diarrhea, dizziness. All those particular reactions can be helped effectively by often only 2 to 3 different holds. And at that point, I'm going to switch back to Lisa, who's going to take us through some of those reactions and some of those flows that are similar and overlapping. And then we'll look at the slides again, and we'll actually do some self-help. So back over to you, Lisa.
Okay, so someone mentioned in the chat that poison can also come into the body via skin exposure or by way of breath like gas, which is true, as well as, and Terry and I talked about this at length about food poisoning. I think it's common. Most of us have had some amount of that. And then we decided to stick to the word injection that Mary uses in the textbook. Certainly the body can be poisoned in different modes, different methods and modalities, but I think the self-help can help all of these. In fact, anytime the body is wanting to get rid of toxins or poisons, it will show certain symptoms, and then we have these self-helps that will help over and over again. And I wrote down many different self-help holds that we can do to help these, but really there's some basic ones that help everything. So Terry, did you want me to talk about the different symptoms, and then let's see, that the different symptoms that can happen when we're poisoned, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give a broad overview, I've mentioned some of the reactions.
Right, right.
Give a broad overview,
Yeah.
and then just say, well, this can be countered with or harmonized with da da da, and then say, okay, that's the overview. Now we'll do the practices. Yeah.
Right, right. So some of the symptoms of being poisoned can be nausea and vomiting, severe stomach pain and abdominal cramps, diarrhea, chest pain, dizziness, loss of balance, loss of coordination, being unresponsive but awake, anaphylactic shock. So those are some of the symptoms that happen when the body has been poisoned. And then we're going to talk about specifically, there's a list of some of these and what we can do for self-help. So severe stomach pain, acute stomach pain, cramping. So the ones located at the inside of the knee, or the high ones just above that, the inner thighs of the knees, crossing the hands and holding them, is a wonderful JIN SHIN JYUTSU self-help for so many things. If you want to pull the energy down and rid the body of something, this is going to help so many different things. So almost when in doubt, the ones and the high ones. And you don't have to cross the hands, but it's usually recommended, and I actually suggest that you try both. If in doubt, try uncrossing the hands and holding the ones, and then crossing the hands and see which feels better. One will definitely feel better. And I have found myself that when my body's in trouble, it's having a reaction to something, and it's in distress, it's very specific. Like it's definitely, the body will tell you what feels better, what it needs. And same with if you're working on another person or an animal, same thing. They will often let you know. Also, I'm going to mention the basics and then some other things. Some of you are longtime students, and so I'm going to mention a few other self-helps that we have that can help with this. The holding thumb, doing spleen flow or self-help bladder flow, it will also help stomach pain. Next is shock or anaphylactic shock. That is when the throat or the airway starts to close, it swells, and obviously it's a serious situation. It can happen with allergies, peanuts, and all that kind of thing. But in this case, it would be from a poison, from a toxin injected into the body. So again, hands crossed, holding the ones or the high ones. I'm going to say, when I say the ones, I guess it's going to include the high ones. Personally, I like the high ones, but both very powerful. Terry, do you have an opinion about things that the ones help that the high ones don't, or vice versa situations regarding using
No, I
those?
think I think the main subdivision there is between bust line and waistline. When we segment the body, we tend to hold the thighs as a relationship to the bust line, and then we hold the ones themselves at the knee level for waistline. However, major regeneration flows go through both. I tend to want to experiment, and I will go usually first to the lowest of the two so that I can pull energy down, because the ones are descending safety energy locks. So I will tend to go to the ones themselves. And if that's not doing the job, I'll give them a push with the high ones. Does that make sense?
It certainly does. Absolutely. Okay, so after anaphylactic shock, swelling, I have swelling and rash. Different, but there's some similarities there. For swelling, the high ones, again, hands crossed. Also, the high 19 with the opposite high one, or the 19 at the elbow with the one, opposite one at the inside of the knee. So either one of those, super powerful. Again, Terry and I were discussing that we've heard that Mary said that the 19 and 1, or high 19 and opposite 1, high 1 rather, is really about, it helps everything. It helps the mediator, therefore balances right and left on the body. It's one of the most powerful self-helps that we can do for so many things. So really, sort of when in doubt with these, if you can't remember anything, the ones, high ones, or opposite high 19 and opposite high 1 will help just about any of these. For swelling, also opposite high 1 and 21, which is on the cheek, and you could do that crossed hands, same side. And we'll go through some of these. And then rash, skin rash, high ones, and palming the calves. So palming the calves takes heat out of the body, and that's really great for all kinds of conditions, especially skin. It's easy to do on someone else if they're lying down, but if you're sitting like a cross-legged position, you can do it as well. Cross your hands and put your hands on the back of your calves for palming calves. Let's see. So, and then sometimes people will break out in hives from an allergy, but I suppose from they could have a reaction to one of these poisons and break out into hives as well. We could use any of the aforementioned holds, ones, high ones, opposite high 19 and opposite 1. Also the first depth flow, which is the 2 and opposite 26 for hives. Next is nausea and vomiting. And again, the high ones, the ones, and as well as another very powerful self-help is the 8 and 16. And we'll demonstrate that. It's in the back of the knee, lateral back of the knee and the outside of the ankle. We'll demonstrate an easy way to do that on yourself. I also have mentioned for the nausea and vomiting, the low 8 with the middle toe, same side middle toe. Cramps. So I'm assuming that this is probably, stomach cramps. I suppose it could be other kinds of cramps, but in an emergency situation like this, I'm guessing it's abdominal cramps. Low 8 and 16 again in the high ones. I also have left 23, or both 23s, that's at the small of the back, or both 8s, outside back of the knees. Diarrhea, again, the body's infinite wisdom trying to rid itself of toxin and poisons, wants to expel that. So low 8 and 16, but on the right side. The right side is specifically for diarrhea. The opposite would be the left side. So again, we'll demonstrate how to do that on yourself. Dizziness. Dizziness would be the 21s. And fainting would be the 4s. And another really powerful self-help would be the opposite 4 and the opposite 21. You can use that for both fainting and dizziness. Sneezing, coughing, fever as a reaction. So the 15 and the 3, and again, the ones and the high ones would be helpful. Also, immune system booster for fever and all of that is the 3, and then going through the fingers one at a time, really powerful. And or palming the calves. Again, that cools the body. Let's see. Also for fainting, I have the 17s outside of the wrist and the 16s down at the ankles, outside of the ankles. Bleeding. So I suppose, yes, I think it more in terms of accidents, but certainly these bites or something, if there's bleeding happening, you want to place your right hand over the area that's bleeding, and then your left over your right. So right on red, right on the bleeding, and left over the left on top, on the left hand on top of the right. Anxiety and chest pain. We can use the 26s that give ourselves a hug. We can also use the palm of the hand with the middle finger. We can hold the thumbs, the middle fingers. And I also think that I actually have for difficulty breathing, and this could be for anxiety, panic, also with shock or anaphylactic shock, difficulty breathing. We can hold the 3s again with the ring finger. Or we can hold just the ring fingers, make a circle with our thumb and our ring fingers. We can hold the high ones. Or we can use the 2s with the same side 6s. For headaches, 21 and opposite 4, like we were just talking about, the 1s and the high ones. I feel like we're a little bit of a broken record, Terry, but so powerful, just pulling that energy out. And then, let's see, there are also some, for headaches as well. There's some additional self-help if you're interested. The self-help bladder flow, very powerful, holding the 18s, the 16s down at the ankles, the 4 with the same side 16, and then the 24s down on the foot, and ring toes. So those are all helpful for headaches, either self-help or using with someone else. Again, when in doubt, the ones pull that energy down. And for backache, So that would also be another reaction to some of these situations. The 15s, the 15 and 3, the 11 and 25, 11 and 15, holding the 23s, the 23 and opposite 21, and the 8 and 16. 8 and 16 is amazing for pulling energy down as well. I almost want to add that to our when in doubt, Terry. The ones, high ones, 19 and 1, 8 and 16. So those are the side effects of these, the situation where the body has been injected with poison, and some things that we can do with our hands to help harmonize that through JIN SHIN JYUTSU.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, those of you that have a copy, or those of you that don't, might want to get a copy of the Touch of Healing, because at the back there is lots of information on first aid and on the spot healing. All right, and Lisa's covered quite a bit of them, and there's different subdivisions of all these different kind of situations which you may not have thought the particular safety energy locks help, but in fact they do. But for now, let's do some practice, and we're going to put up the slides. Mm-hmm. Can you all see that? All right.
So this is the high, holding the high ones, right, Terry?
Yeah.
It looks to me, the illustration looks a little bit like the hands are just simply placed on the front of the thighs. For me, it's more the inside above the knee, the inside of the inner thigh, and usually you can feel some tender areas in there, and you can simply hold them. I've had some urgent situations, like for example, when I was choking, and I held on sort of for dear life, and the object that was blocking my airway flew out of my mouth. So anyway, very powerful flow, very powerful flow. Anything that's not, the energy goes in JIN SHIN JYUTSU goes down the front, up the back. Anything that's not, that's stuck and not descending, creates all kinds of disharmony. So that will help pull down the energy. So just this such an easy self-help to do. Again, you don't have to cross your arms, but it's usually suggested. It's a whole different action. Energetically, it's a whole different action. So you could play with it and see. This is just one. There's so many ways to help ourselves. And for people who have been practicing, they may listen to pulses, they may have all kinds of things that they can do, but this is one you don't have to know anything. You can just simply hold. In fact, didn't Mary once say that if you held your ones for an hour a day for a year, was it something about how much your life would change? Do you remember that, Terry?
Yeah, she definitely did. This is technically the high ones, but yes, she said if you held your ones every day for a year, you would likely clear all the projects that you have, because, you know, number one is a prime mover, and so many major energy pathways go through the ones, not the least kidney, liver, spleen, which are the great cleansers of the body, cleansers of the blood. Yeah. So do we want to practice holding this high one, or what do you want?
Yes, I've actually been doing it, but yes, if you
Oh,
want to cross your hands and hold your high ones. If anyone has any questions on where to locate it, just let us know. You can unmute yourself and ask.
yeah. So if there's anyone new here, in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, the exhale is first. So we just breathe out. And then we receive the breath on the inhale. There's nothing forced here. A little push to exhale sometimes, but it's all natural. Exhale, let go, and then receive a breath until you feel a pulse in both sides of the body, which you're holding, in this case, the upper thigh area. And notice the fingers are pointing down. This is to facilitate the movement of energy down the front. For those of you that are completely brand new, you're waiting to feel a pulse left and right underneath the palms of the hands. That means the energy is actually moving in those areas. It is the blood pulse, but the blood doesn't pulsate without the energy beginning to move it. It's first the energy, and then the blood follows the energy. And don't worry, which is very significant for safety energy lock number 1 or high 1 from first depth, stomach and spleen, where the emotional disharmonizer is worry. Don't worry if you don't feel a pulse straight away. Sometimes it takes a little while to come due to how much congestion is in your energy pathways. Okay, should we move on, Lisa, to the next?
Certainly, I'm certainly feeling a lot more calm after holding my high ones. I tend to get stuck in my head a lot. This is definitely something that will help that. It just helps so many things.
Yeah,
Did anyone
I mean,
experience some sort of rumbling in their tummy? That's just energy releasing, and this is part of the stomach flow, which also it goes right through this pathway and helps to just pull down the energy. And then what's our second one, Terry? It is the
high 19 and opposite high 1.
yeah, high 19 and high 1. So the high 19 is above the elbow. It really can be anywhere on that upper arm. I think the classic is sort of on the outside, but again, you can feel for tension. And then the opposite hand goes to the opposite knee, the 1 or the high 1. I tend to go, if I'm going to do high 19, I tend to go high 1 if I'm going to go with a 19 to the 1, but there really is no, I don't think there's any right and wrong. It is a different action, but it's very similar in clearing the whole body. Very, very important flow. So many levels, yes. Sometimes when I have only one hand free and I'm doing, whatever, um, the hand that's free will reach for my I1 or my I-19. It's just such a natural, comforting position. So again, you can use these for self-help. You can use them on someone else. Yeah, and I like your statement, Terry, that you start at the one and kind of move up. You could certainly clear that whole line of energy at the knee. And I suppose you could do the same thing starting at the 19 and making your way up to the high 19 as well. The 19 clears the nines and the high 19 clears the tens, which are located on the back and a little bit hard to reach.
Okay, shall I move on to the next slide?
Yes. So this is this special body function energy 2 in textbook 2, and it is the low 8 and 16. So powerful. So very easy to do on someone else. If they're lying down, you just go to the end of the table and hold their back of their outer knee and the back of their and the outside of their ankle. On yourself, I have found just crossing one leg over the other makes it very easy to just take hold of that outside of the knee. There's a bone there. Um, and then the 16 outside of you can see on the page here. And this is the bladder line energy of the body. And it also really, really pulls things down. It helps so many different things. We were talking about the the right side helping for diarrhea. The body's desperately trying to get rid of toxic material. The right side the left side helps to open the pelvis. It helps the opposite, constipation also at childbirth and that kind of thing. Very, very powerful. But it helps so many different things. I had a blood pressure emergency once in the emergency room. I had my husband meet me and it just said, please hold my low 8 and 16. And we just literally watched the monitor come down. It helped so fast, so beautifully. And the nurses said, well, we don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So anyway, very powerful.
Okay. So now we come to the good old 15 and 3. 3 and 15 work together. They're opening up the shoulder and the groin area. They're allowing energy to ascend and descend, and they're also all about immunity. The balance between 15 allowing the regeneration flows going up all the way up to the 3 back and front keeps the body in a position to resist overwhelm of infection. And we can hold this just gently, just put your hand over and find if you can, around the third thoracic vertebrae. That's just a little off there as your 3. And as the hand is reasonably placed there in the illustration, in the groin. And that covers all the major regeneration flows coming up in the body. So we'll do this for about 3 minutes. Just breathe out, drop your shoulders. And just realize the message you're giving to your body is to boost immunity. The regeneration flows are all about immunity. And the 3 is all about the lungs and allowing, it's the swinging door, allowing the breath or chi to move in and out, which is important because if we're blocked up there, we can't allow heaven's energy to move through us as well, heaven's chi through the lungs. So let's just do that without me yakking. Breathe out and drop your shoulders. Allow the energy to move down the front and up the back. For those of you that are new, when you feel a pulsation in both hands, you know the energy is communicated down the front and then up the back. So the spiral has found its completion, moving energy down the front and then allowing it, receiving it to go up the back. Exhale, inhale. And don't worry if you're not feeling the pulse straight away for new people. Just allow, just continue breathing out, exhaling, and then receiving the breath. And in its own time, you will feel a pulsation with those particular safety energy locks. Worry just disharmonizes first depth. And then we get into some grief, I wish it had happened, and that'll disharmonize second depth where the 15 lies. So don't do that. Okay, here we go to the next slide. 4 and 21. So it's right hand in my case. I'm going to put, I know the illustration there is left hand. Maybe I should do that. Left hand on the right 4 there, and then the right hand on the, let's start again. Left hand on the right 21 and right hand on the left 4. The 4 will open the 21 and the 21 will open the 4. We're moving energy across from one side, the 4, first depth, and we're moving it into third depth, 21. As it goes across the body, it creates a spiral of beginning to open up the whole cheekbone area, allowing more energy to come through from the 4. Which is the gateway or the window that lets in more light. And it's the light energy that is actually doing the harmonizing. We're receiving light, universal light, through the window of the 4 and moving it through the 21, which is really harmonizing the thoughts that go on in our head, the resistance normally in our thinking. So if you let in more light, you throw more light on a situation, it will allow the mind to calm down and relax, which is what you want to allow the flow of energy and it's crisscrossing here. It's mediating here. And folks, it's the light that does all the harmonizing. So if you feel that your 4s are blocked and or your 21s, hold them, because each safety energy lock will facilitate the movement of energy between them, and therefore allow more light into the cells, into the body. And that's what you want. Okay, last slide. Give yourself a hug. So the thumbs are going underneath the shirt, shoulder girdle onto safety energy lock 22, which is a higher vibration of that 4 we were just holding. And then the 26 is the fingers go on the sides of the shoulder blades. The 8, which is going to balance and harmonize the light as it moves left and right through the body. All complete, in other words, which is what safety energy lock is. 26 is often described as all complete. It's bringing you back to source. And the 22 is allowing you to exhale, to let go of what you don't need, so that you can bring in more light into the source. And you know, in a very simple way, by giving yourself a hug, you're offering that harmony to the whole of your system. Because once we do this, there's an immediate message that's getting sent to all the cells in the body of, like, you are embracing yourself. You're accepting yourself at this point. And at that point of acceptance is the release of the energy that you need through the lungs and the small intestine, and basically through all the pathways in the body. Doesn't it feel good to be hugged and then to give yourself a hug? I mean, it's just a feel, a greater sense of well-being, and all the cells just feel loved. And of course, 26 is in that 5th depth, the guardian of the heart. 22 is the liver, which part of the liver energy, 3rd depth, which supports the heart. So you're onto a good harmony here. And when we're in harmony, folks, the immune system works to support any kind of need to neutralize or harmonize any kind of dis-ease in our body. Any kind of poisonous injection in the body will be given this extra boost of harmony while we either do other flows or seek emergency attention. So good. That's the end of that. All right, so how are you all feeling? You're all still here. I count 17 as still present. You haven't run off. Yeah. So if you got any comments, feedback, questions, this is your starter for 10. Here you go.
I was wondering if any of you have ever had one of these situations where you were injected with some poison and what that was like.
Yeah, just unmute yourself if you want to share with us.
Oh, I wanted to also mention for something like a bee sting, where you would like to pull the body out. Do you remember when I said if you, for bleeding, you put the right hand down and the left hand on top of it? So if you want to, that's for helping uh, the bleeding to stop. So if you would like to pull something out of the body like a bee sting, you want to do the opposite. You place the left hand on the area of need and the right hand on top. This will also help for like splinters or anything that needs to come to the surface. So for yeah, bee stings and that kind of thing, left on the body, right over left.
Yeah, and if some of these flows you're not familiar with them, just keep it simple. And as Lisa pointed out, those high ones where major regeneration flows are going through them, all the ones, liver, kidney, spleen, they are the regeneration flows of the body. You got first depth, fourth depth, and third depth, great cleaners of the body. So you can always hold your ones and your high ones, and then you can give it a boost with the 19s, high 19s, opposite as Lisa showed us. And Mary said that was the most powerful self-help, high 19 and high 1. It covers all the decks, basically, left and right. All the energy pathways that go through the body will pass through the high 19s and the high 1s at some point. Stephanie, you said ditto. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I also feel very relaxed and deeply, yeah, calm. Um, uh, do do you write the word ditto for I say the same
Yes.
with double T in English?
Ditto,
I'm
yeah,
not
you
sure.
spell it with two T's.
Yes, I use the Latin version. Sorry, there's only one T. So
All good. It's all good. We're all
so
learning.
everybody can understand each other. I try. Well, um, actually, right now I often use the ones and the ring fingers because of severe diarrhea ongoing, but no bacteria. They didn't find any, so I should be very healthy and happy. But my large intestine doesn't think so. So I use the ones and the high ones, and of course the ring fingers.
Perfect. Yeah, and folks, sometimes there's a timing that isn't instant, and sometimes there is with energy. There's different layers, depths to whatever condition we're wanting to harmonize. And I think that's an important thing that sometimes is overlooked in our eagerness to harmonize. There's an expectation, or why didn't it work straight away? Breathe out always, whenever you're doing any of these flows. The importance of exhalation cannot be underestimated or underemphasized, whichever. I saw someone, did you see that, Lisa? There was
Yes.
yeah,
What if you had a CT scan with radiation? How do you get it out? Um, and I would look at the 23s for cleansing the body. Again, ones and high ones would also be good. Yeah, the 23 maybe with the same side high one. I don't know, that's always one that Philomena would use, and I like that. It just feels good. What would you say for getting rid of any kind of toxic um, uh, radioactive material in the body?
You know, to me, it's always moving it out.
Mhm.
It's always a combination of the breath and the liver, kidney, and spleen, because they're dealing with overload in our body, and we want to excrete some of those toxins that are not going to be useful if they remain there. So high ones with the 19s is where I would go. Breathe it out. And of
And
course,
the first, oh, I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry,
carry
Terry.
on.
Go ahead.
No, what I
No,
was
no,
going
you.
to say is folks, don't ignore drinking water, or using established protocols that will help the energy move, the seaweed and things like that, which are known to help toxins go through the bloodstream a lot quicker. They bind with the particular toxin and help it go through the body, help it flush out. You got the breath, you got the water, and you got the binders. So a combination of, things is often very effective. Over to you, Lisa, you can say.
I was going to just say that first and fourth depths are the cleaners of the body, the janitorial services, and these self-helps that we've been talking about definitely help the first and the fourth depth to do their job. I think of the ones for first depth for sure, and the 23 and the small of the back is the only safety energy lock on the fourth depth. It's very powerful. I'm sitting here holding my 23 with my same side high one, and it just feels really good. So anyway, any
Yeah,
of these things will help. And I think
sorry.
you just go with what feels right. Our bodies are incredibly wise, and if we listen to them, they will tell you. Um, and I think that becomes, like I said earlier, even more profound in an urgent situation when your body's really needing help. It will let you know.
Well, and if you have the luxury of a loved one who can hold your fingers and opposite toes, that would be wonderful to support output of unwanted substances and regulate the organism and the metabolism, I think. So,
Yeah.
and you can persuade your partners or friends to give you opposite fingers and toes. A very good idea.
Yeah. So we haven't covered every possible permutation of the safety energy lock holds here in the hour that we've had. We've given you a basic overview, and hopefully it's useful to you. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Lisa, for co-hosting this. And there'll be a replay up within, I guess, 48 hours, which you'll be able to look at again. Those of you that connect to the link which I provide when we get you to be informed of what we're doing. So thank you, all of you, for joining us today. And thank you, Lisa, for co-hosting. I think, in fact, more or less hosting. I had very little to do. So that's very helpful. We shared it together, and I hope it's been useful for all of you. Lisa, do you have anything you want to add before we sign off?
I just wanted to thank you, Terry, for inviting me, and I wanted to thank you all that attended and all of you who might be watching at some point on YouTube. And if you have any questions about any of this, I will put my email in the chat. let's see, and you can reach out.
Yeah. And I just remembered, let's see if I can share it. Coming up shortly is an introduction to the answer sheet with Susie, and me, myself, I will be hosting that. And for those of you that are completely brand new, it may feel like too much information, but Susie is giving an introduction to how the energy moves through the different levels through JIN SHIN JYUTSU, from the subtle to the dense, and you'll get an understanding of how the energies get balanced at different levels of the body. It's going to be a live webinar October the 19th, and you can sign up for that on JSJ SMB's site. https jinshinjutsuspiritmindbody.com, or simply jsjsmb.com will get you there. Go to the classes, and then if you're drawn to this, you can sign up. All right. Oh, there you are, Lisa. I thought you suddenly rushed off. All right. Okay, so thank you again, everybody. Really appreciate it. I'll get the replay at some point put up on the site, YouTube site, and then you can click the link and watch this whenever you want. And I think the next Harmonize to Energize is October the 24th, when I'm going to be joined by Jenny Swizecki, and we're actually going to be doing number 7 of all the different reasons which can disharmonize the body, and we'll be talking about accidents, etc., and how we can harmonize the body as a result of being exposed to some kind of accidental situation, whatever that may be. So thank you again, Lisa, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and until we see you again, be well and breathe out what you don't need and breathe in what you do need. Anything you want to add to that, Lisa, before we?
No, maybe when in doubt, hold your ones, high ones, your 19s with your opposite ones, and that just helps to harmonize everything in an emergency and non-emergency. It really does help. So thank you, Terry, so much for offering this and for inviting me. Thank you all again for attending.
Beautiful.